So I think that everyone, and I mean everyone, knows about New Warriors 2020 to the fact that it's gotten 850 plus thousand views and 186,000 downvotes. Why? That's quite the sexy ratio, Marvel. Sexy and fine. So in this, we also find out quite a bit about the quote-unquote talent behind the scenes here. And I use that word sparingly, talent, with air quotations. Daniel Kibblesmith. We found out about the dating game. We found out about the old books. Yeah, everything that's really not surprising. The thing is, when we look back, we somehow treat talent like they haven't always been this way. When we can look online and we can see examples of people that act just like this or much, much worse. Now, the talent that I want to talk about today is one Bill Sienkiewicz. He was also on a new title, although this is not New Warriors, it's New Mutants. And when I say talent, I'm not using air quotes. He's actually very talented when it comes to his work on the page. Sadly, and I do mean sadly, he is exactly what you can anticipate from not only comic book pros, but anyone that is associated with the Marvel brand. Whether that comes in the form of denouncing consumers because, oh my God, you're so mean and ugly, while drawing bullseyes on people he doesn't agree with politically, or whether that's throwing dear old Aunt Mary Sienkiewicz under the bus on Facebook for everyone to see, yeah, this stuff, it's exactly the same and sometimes much, much worse. So hey there, so today we return to that wonderful world of comic books, and what a wonderfully interesting world it is. Before we get there though, let me say this. In this time of uncertainty, I hope you and yours are doing really well. But if you aren't for some reason, can't find necessities or on, hit people up and ask for that. That includes myself. If you find that you can't find bread, you can't find toilet paper, can't find canned goods, ask somebody. They'll try to help you out. Because you know what? From my family to yours, we're all in this together, and we sincerely appreciate you all. So Bill Sienkiewicz, I'm going to actually stop mispronouncing his name, is actually a pretty talented artist. I mean, if you go and you check out his website, he has quite a bit of original work that I have to say is really good for his profession. I mean, if you look at his New Mutants work, for example, he had some very interesting takes on characters. He also had some very interesting takes on other types of characters. Again, it's very reminiscent of its time. It was actually enjoyable artwork. And compared to the newer stuff out there, yeah, I think that this part is unquestionably good. When it comes to his other types of artwork, however, you start noticing a trend. You start noticing something that reflects his mentality when he's telling off specific types of consumers, saying, hey, I don't want your money. The problem isn't having political beliefs either, but rather the fact that this is a person that says that words are violence. But at the same time, if he doesn't agree with you politically, you'll probably end up in a cartoon with a bullseye. You'll probably be denounced. Lord knows exactly what you'll end up with. I'm not saying don't have political beliefs either, nor am I talking about my political beliefs in this. I'm saying don't be surprised when you go out and do this if you divide your audience. And then when you start bragging about how divisive you are and you start blocking people because of this, yeah, don't be surprised when that ends up hurting you. This is the perfect example of that behavior, wherein you see this divisive mentality showcased, thinking, hey, it's going to be okay. And you know what? It's not. It's definitely not. So, blocked a few trolls this AM. They won't be able to see this, but they'll know soon enough. Wish everything was as simple. Now, trolls to him are people that disagree. And well, they're going to look at this post here. Department of Don't Let the Door Hit Your Butt. Awoke to see I lost 1,000 or so followers on Twitter. Guess a lot of right-wingers love comics, just not creators who stand for progressive values. Note to the right. Save yourself some time. Look at my body of work. Does it say conservative you? Don't think so. Now, what's hilarious about this is these folks, they want that money still. They understand the damage that they do, but they won't stop doing it. Here you have somebody, for example, thanking them again for their poignant, beautiful work, and they go into this saying, very kind of you. I'm aware my political discourse can alienate some fans and followers, but hopefully the work and our common love of story and ideals unites us more than than it divides us. That's the dream anyhow. So you're talking about divisive rhetoric. You're talking about telling fans you're going to block them and on, but somehow, in some way, we're all united. So come on and spend that money. Some of the unabashed narcissism that is put into some of these posts too, I mean, it absolutely astounds me. You have a person here, for example, that's going to tell you why denouncing people that comics chose them as a practitioner, as an emissary, as an evangelist, rather than the other way around. Perhaps that's why they tend to view most creators through similar lenses. Whatever the actual reason, people create comics, tell stories, live in this world. It's still a wonderful calling. Creators are family. Every voice is unique and necessary. Unless you like that, because I'm the emissary, therefore I'll denounce you. Comics sure as didn't choose so-called Comicsgate contingent to promote hateful, and plain old ugly dogma. No, these gators, you guys, you brought that ugliness all by yourself. To be honest, I just don't get your deal. Are you so insecure, so afraid, so fearful of this prospect of bearing the incel moniker, or by sharing creative spaces with someone with more estrogen than you, that you'll all somehow threaten to your very manhood or your livelihood? How super heroic of you. I ask you to explain it to me, but frankly, what I have heard from your quarter already bores me, as well as just plainly peeves me off. I effing despise bullies. Cowards. What you're promoting individually is not some divine creative dispensation. It's just you being an a-hole. Collectively, you're a gaggle, a clan, potentially with a K, unsettled as that shot may be, a veritable bag worth of douches. Whatever the name you give for your assembly, you're not the Avenger. You're just a bunch of. And he keeps going on from there. You know, he does the same stuff about it's not a boys club. It's we're a legion of real-life superheroes, only with pen and ink, you know, because he buys into thinking these characters are himself. And then he spends the rest of the time calling people brown shirts, saying that they're all of these horrible things. And imagine saying this stuff in any other profession, but in comic books, it's absolutely allowed. My favorite stuff, though, is throwing family members under the bus. And this has happened multiple times because when he does it, he doesn't just throw them under the bus, and that's crazy enough. He also throws people that vote a specific way, that believe a specific way under the bus. And you know what? That is not viable commercially. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want you to notice a couple of things here and see how one statement at the bottom, it mirrors things people are saying now. So he starts out, I've said it before, it sucks when you have to completely block and disassociate with an entire branch of family members. It's not the fawning, gloating Trumpism, nor the excessive religiosity either, which for some reason seems inexplicably linked. We're going to skip the middle. No, for me, the worst is almost vindictively associated with the goal of exacerbating the senseless divide when there are real-world problems to be addressed. That is exactly the same talking point we're seeing in the now from people like Donnie Cates that talk about positivity, how we need to focus on something different now, and if you don't, well then, because that's the implication to what Bill's saying there, well then, you know you're scum, and F every single one of you, get F'd, but hey, love you all. My other favorite example of this is Aunt Mary being thrown under the bus. Aunt Mary comes in and said, you need to have the Lord in your lives. You're just nasty. Bill is like, wait, Aunt Mary, you're saying we're the nasty ones, but you're completely fine with this, and see all of those buzzwords there. He's fine. You have nothing to say to him or his supporters, and you notice all of this stuff. It's about throwing her under the bus, feeding her to these people. It's sad, he goes on, you know, I don't know what happened to parts of my family. I love my aunt dearly. She's always been loving and tolerant. This isn't the woman I remember. Maybe that's because she's seeing a different you. Maybe it's not her at all. Her implicit support of this and anger at liberals for the apparent lack of civility and of God God in our life is incredibly hypocritical. Unfortunately, that hypocrisy is endemic of the right wing, where there's far too much Bible and not enough actual school or learning to think for yourselves. Just sheep looking for an authoritarian father, God substitute. You're all sheep. You're not schooled at all. You're not like me, who's an emissary of comics. By the way, I politically divide and alienate, but I hope our common love of stories and ideals will unite us. Please buy my work. Please. Oh, you gotta love that. But anyway, like I said, this stuff that we're looking at with New Warriors 2020, it's the same comic book industry, the same type of people. We just have this nostalgic view, like it's changed somehow. So while this stuff is falling apart, it's always been falling apart. These people, they've always acted the same. They've unabashedly done it too. Let's not pretend that that's somehow different, because whether it's New Warriors or it's New Mutants, there's nothing new about it. But anyway, you tell me what you think. Now, ending this too, I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating. You make this stuff possible. I say that every time because I sincerely mean it. You folks, you empower these endeavors, these channels, anything else. They don't work without you. I don't want to monopolize your time either, but I do want to thank you for spending it here, whether this video, whether it's something else. And I want to say, if you like the channel, you know that drill by now, subscribing and all of that. You don't have to be liked here, though. Like I said, I appreciate you making it this far, and we'll be doing this again soon. Thank you.